Hey, I'm Claire,
And I'm Janice.
and this is The X-Files, a podcast about breakups, broken hearts, and moving on.
We are breakup coaches here to help you beat your breakup
Heal your broken heart.
and move on to an amazing, abundant life.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We've got a really good episode for you today. I know you clicked on it, so you know what's coming. And
Hi, everyone.
we're just really excited to dive into what can be a very heavy subject, but we're going to try to make it as optimistic and uplifting as possible. But before we begin that, what do you want to hear about? Send us a DM with your topic idea and we will consider it for an upcoming episode. We love getting suggestions in our DMs, and we also love answering questions in our Facebook group. We go live in there every Monday and answer listener questions live. And it becomes like this really fun back and forth with whoever's there live. And then the recording is available afterwards for anyone who missed it. So that's a great way to get kind of your unique question answered by us for free in our Facebook group. So
it's been really great to connect with a lot of listeners over there who have sent us DMs. And, we've said, what would you think about us answering this live in the group? And then, we hear from them after saying, oh, I listened. That was so great, to hear you guys discussing my question. Thank you. So, definitely come over and join us.
Yeah, it's a really active, supportive group. Like, anytime someone drops a question in there, which is like honestly multiple times a day now, like everyone's jumping in there in the comments being like, no, you've got this. Like,
really
I went through this too, and this is what helped me. And it's so cool to see. So I'm like literally getting goosebumps right now thinking about it.
Yeah, it has really become a very magical space, and just even it's exceeded our expectations.
Oh, totally.
For sure.
Yeah. So all
right. And if you are struggling with feelings of love toward your ex, I personally know how painful it can be. I think both of us do. And we are here to help. We both work very closely with people who face this specific challenge during a breakup and would love to be there for you. Having someone who is objective, who is outside of the situation, who has experience in this can be very helpful when you are dealing with these feelings. So DM us for information on our current coaching offerings. We're here for you.
Yeah, we're here. So the early days of a breakup can be really tough and extremely painful. I know, newsflash. You've probably noticed. One thing that's particularly hard is if you're struggling with feelings of still loving the person. Feeling still in love with an ex can just leave like a pain in your heart that you just will physically experience.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So this pain and these feelings can often lead to thought patterns and ways of looking at your breakup that can be detrimental to your healing. Just slow you down.
Yes. Yep. You can definitely get stuck in like lots of black and white thinking, and you can feel so much physical and mental pain that it can be maybe hard to make decisions. It can really be hard to just like get out of the agony of it, and really decide what you need to do to heal. And I know from personal experience and talking to a lot of people that you can also just get really, really stuck in racing thoughts, and you can get stuck in, thought patterns and ways of thinking that include, I will never love anyone as much as them. We do have an episode on this that I will share in the show notes. We were perfect for each other. Why did I screw it up? I will never get over losing them. What we had was amazing. I'll never have that again. I can't get over them and never will. And I should have done things differently.
Yeah.
Lots of regret and guilt and shame that you really don't need when you're trying to heal and look towards the future, but it's just natural. This is what happens.
Yeah, big shame energy.
Yeah.
And like some other ones just from my personal experience of going through a period of this is like, we were meant to be together. That was my one chance at happiness. Like, those were just two big ones that were kind of, I guess, different angles of these same thoughts of being like, basically that was it.
Yes.
You know, and the future looks dark.
You know? I mean, made for each other, meant to be together. Yeah, that's hard to get over, and it's hard to really think towards the future. I mean, how can you possibly think about, you know, being happy alone or being happy with someone else if you know, are telling yourself that, you know,
you're just the one like it's all downhill from here, you know?
And I mean, obviously these are the types of things that you look a year from now and think, whoa, I can't believe I thought that way. But it's impossible to even have that type of perspective when you're in the midst of it.
Yeah. And as real as these feelings of love for your ex are, and as devastated as you may feel about things ending, you can still heal from this breakup and you can still move to a better place. And you can even do this while still loving the person. I take the perspective that the person you fell in love with, you're always going to have a soft spot for them. You're always going to have the things that you fell for them for, whether that person even exists anymore. That doesn't matter, because people like change and people grow, and you know, that person that you knew will always have a place in your heart. But we'll talk about how that can be true and you can still heal. It's love is complicated, but it's not.
Certainly, people are complicated. Relationships are very complicated.
Exactly.
And breakups are as well. And healing from them is too.
Yeah. So, and just a word here, we aren't trying to like bypass the pain of this healing. Healing is going through the pain, not about just like stopping it or cutting it off and being like, no, tell yourself you're not in love with them anymore. Just repeat it like until you believe it, you know, like we're here to like offer, you know, actual real world advice here. And
so not denying the pain, not denying, you know, even you might feel very hurt right now. I think, especially if you feel like you are really in love with this person, you've just lost that relationship. And so processing it is important. Because if you don't, it can rear its head in some ugly ways when and if you do start dating again. So do allow yourself to, you know, think about it, experience it, and process it. And we've got a lot of tips here for how you can do that.
So first up, allow yourself compassion. It can be very hard to shut off feelings for a person, and then add to it how disruptive a breakup can be. It can do a number on a person. So don't shame yourself for struggling, and don't shame yourself for still having feelings for this person. And while it's important to feel that you're walking in a direction of moving forward, there's no timeline. You don't have to be over it in a week or a month. It really depends on you.
I hate that advice. That's a very strong word to use, but I hate when people's like family and friends start getting down on them for, you know, still being in the midst of the pain, you know, a month later, even several months later. I think you do need to be moving forward. You know, if you're just day in, day out depressed, you know, you need to do something about it, but over it, maybe not. And don't shame yourself if you're not.
It is also important to not allow others to shame you either, just like you were saying. Like we've often said on the show how after the initial weeks of breakup, like your friends and family are like, come on, like get over it. Like best way to get over someone is to get under someone else.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about that last night. I think I had a dream actually about that. Why?
Oh my God.
This is so weird. It's just coming back to me now. I had a dream about exactly what you said. The best way to get over someone is to get under someone. And the person who I was saying it to didn't know what it meant.
Oh, and you had to be like
under them,
like under them.
It's so weird how things come back to you.
Oh my
that's
God.
also insane that you're saying that. Okay,
we're just on the same wavelength here.
That we could actually do an episode on that because I mean, there's some good and some bad parts too.
Yeah.
Dating.
Pro tip: it
sex.
won't if you're not ready to be over someone.
Yeah, but I guess if you are, I mean, I know I've had times after a breakup where the first time I had sex with someone else, it was kind of like
if
symbolic, but in a couple of cases, oh yeah. Okay, so let's definitely, I'm writing that down.
We digress. But it is healthy to talk about the breakup less and less as time goes on, because like obsessing over it can keep you stuck at some point.
Yes.
So if you're feeling like you really need to continue to process and be heard, and your family and friends are not having it, it's good to seek help from a therapist or a coach, even if your friends and family are okay with like hearing about this. As time goes on, like having someone outside of the situation, like a therapist or coach, can be really helpful because, best case scenario, your friends and family have a stake in it. They want you to be happy, and they'll tell you whatever they think will make you happy. And sometimes that isn't actually what's going to make you happy.
Trite and cliched advice. People think it's going to help, but not always.
Exactly. So so just know, they may be truly trying to help, but like really trying not to internalize whatever messaging you're getting from friends and family, and instead taking your own journey and perhaps getting help from a professional. That's really going to help you.
Yep. We have loved creating free and accessible healing resources for people around the world who are looking for support on their breakups, broken hearts, and moving on journeys. Each day, we receive DMs from many of you who have let us know the positive impact X-Files is making in your life. Our vision for the second year of our show is something that we both feel so completely. We are looking forward to continuing to share useful resources each week, but also expanding our offerings to help people go more deeply with their healing and growth.
Part of our vision is expanding the connection with our community. And to do that, we are thrilled to be launching the X-Files Patreon. Growing this aspect of our community will allow us to keep creating great content for everyone each week, and also start developing even more healing resources and support. We would love for you to be part of the first group of the X-Files patrons. So head to the link in the show notes now to sign up for either the $5 or the $10 level. And we will both be looking forward to connecting with you very soon.
It's important to remember that one pattern that's really easy to fall into when you are still in love with an ex is to really dwell on the guilt and regret of your own actions. This is something that we see a lot as coaches. And in a way, it's good to be self-reflective. Breakups do teach us a lot. Yeah. They teach us about how we show up in relationships, how we interact with people, the types of partners we are. So a breakup is going to, bring all of that kind of to the forefront. Mm-hmm. And yes, we may pinpoint things that we would like to do differently next time. And something that Claire and I have talked a lot about recently is how to reframe this thought pattern. So one way to do it, and we probably mentioned it on an episode even, is taking the regret and changing it from, I regret that I, did this, was this way, this, and saying instead, what I will do different in the future is, or what I will do in my next relationship is, rather than looking to the past constantly and beating yourself up about it just over and over again. You can't change what you did. Trying to go back in relationships often doesn't work. So it's really best to look towards the future and be glad that you learned the lesson.
Yeah. So our next tip is to take realistic inventory of the relationship. So beginning with thinking about what type of love and what type of connection it really was. Be honest with yourself. This is especially true. Like one example is relationships that were not necessarily long-term. And that's because, as we've spoken about before, we often don't get a true sense of what the relationship would have been like long-term, because even though we're bonded with the person, we are still in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
And also fading affect bias, we're going to remember the good stuff more than the bad stuff. So think about that. If you were, if this doesn't apply to you, you were in a longer term relationship, really consider the fact that as you're in pain, you're just going to get like flashback after flashback of all the good times and forget these bad times. And so being honest with yourself and being like, no, really, was this really as good as those good times were?
Yes.
Like,
and do I really know that it was? Because if it was shorter than 3 years, you don't completely know if you would have been able to go another 3 years.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the love though wasn't real. I never want anyone to think when we're talking about the honeymoon phase that we're not saying that, we're saying that the love isn't real. It's just as real as anything. But whether or not the relationship would have gone the distance, that may or may not have been real. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've had someone when I was dealing with a breakup tell me that he never really loved me. And that was not helpful at all. Because I'm like, no, don't tell me that.
That's
that I could just
shitty thing to say.
Know someone better and more intimately than anyone else. And you're telling me from like, seeing this person once or something like that, that you could tell that they didn't love me. Like that's so hurtful. So
wait, you're saying that a friend told you that your ex didn't love you?
Yeah. Okay. So was that clear that it was someone outside of the situation who was like, well, he never really loved you. So like,
okay, super.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, not super. That's
I know.
a shitty thing to tell someone. All right.
Yes. I'm sorry.
No, that's just, it's not helpful. Like, that's the thing. I think, saying something like that, I think the person probably has good intentions, but it just makes you hurt even more, you know, when you lost someone.
So you're like, everything was a lie. I was alone. If you believe that person,
it's not useful.
You're like, right, you're right.
I mean, that, I think if I heard that, I'd just feel kind of stupid and embarrassed.
Yeah, it's just taking your personal power away, basically, and being like, no, you can be with someone and they can just be lying to your face with their actions. And someone, I mean,
people don't know what you're experiencing.
And it's like, oh, someone outside of the situation can know more about it than you do, like that's
completely. I've been there for sure. So as far as what type of love it was, I thought it would be really helpful here to briefly review the triangle of love theory. I personally find this helpful and interesting, so I thought we'd go over it just really briefly here. If you want to take a deep dive into it, check out episode 35, Chemistry versus Compatibility, where we go into great detail about how you can connect with someone and still not be compatible. So for the purposes of this episode, I will briefly review it. The triangle theory of love suggests that the most optimal type of love that will lead to a long-lasting relationship is called consummate love, which is a combination of intimacy, commitment, and passion. When it comes down to it, a lot of relationships that end are because, as much as we want to believe otherwise, we didn't actually have all three. A quick overview of what this means. All right. If you have passion and intimacy in your relationship, that's considered romantic love. A lot of younger relationships may fall into this category.
Yeah.
If you have intimacy and commitment, it's considered companion love. If you have passion and commitment, it's considered fatuous love. So you might want to take a look at your relationship. Once you're ready, doing a relationship inventory, which is something I do with my clients, can be helpful. I think you need to have a tiny bit of distance from the breakup before you take a deep dive into the past. But I also very, very much believe that it can help you to move forward.
Yeah. So you need that passion, intimacy, and commitment from both partners. It doesn't matter if you're super committed, if they're not. You need it to be shared, and for both partners to have all three of these things for a relationship to make the distance. So next up, know that these feelings are much stronger after a breakup. Like emotions run really, really high after a breakup. It's easy to catastrophize those feelings of loss, rejection, regret, sorrow, bring up things in our system that are really, really intense. And sometimes we register this as feelings of love or longing for someone, and sometimes they are, but they will be more intense in the early days, weeks, and months after a relationship ends. Yeah. And I like to think of it, as like a physical injury. It's going to hurt the most right after it happens. And then you let it heal and start the healing process, and the pain becomes much more manageable. And then, as it heals, like maybe you do physical therapy. So like you're going to be bringing up things that hurt it just a little bit in order to get stronger and learn from it and recover. But there's going to come a time where you're like, oh my God, my ankle hasn't hurt me in like months. And I just haven't been thinking about it.
That's so true. I've had this ongoing, I hurt my wrist about almost exactly a year ago. And it took ages to get it to a place where I could, even do a downward dog. Like it seriously got to me, and I was wearing a brace for months. And then I did notice eventually that I didn't feel it at all. Yeah. And then, but once in a while, I will do an exercise, and for a couple days, I can't use it anymore. It comes back up, but it's much less. It's much less painful, and the times are shorter. And so, you'll have thoughts about your ex that will come up. But the longer, the more time goes by, and the more committed you are to your healing, it gets easier.
Yeah, it gets easier, especially because you're like, oh, like this twinge of pain has come up before, it'll pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just part of it.
Definitely not fun, but yes,
it's not fun. Like we don't want you to feel that way, but unfortunately the only way over it is through it. Isn't the English language just fun? Speaking of, our next point, Janice.
Yes. All right. So I really want everyone to hear this. So another tip, if you still feel like you're in love with your ex, accept that love is a noun and also a verb. And I actually mean this literally, even in dictionaries. All right. Yeah. You can care about a person and even have feelings of love, be in love with them, while still deciding that love is an action, is something that you won't do anymore, something you can't do anymore, something you're not doing anymore. This applies to many types of relationships and breakups. Ultimately, having a committed relationship takes two people who are willing to take the many actions involved in keeping it together. Healing from a breakup takes you committing to stop taking the actions and instead taking the actions to love yourself and begin to move on.
Yeah. Yeah, this reminds me a lot of what I talked about in my most recent solo.
Yeah, which we're going to drop in the show notes for sure.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
yeah. Yeah. So go listen to that, because there was a time when I made a decision to stop taking the action verb of loving someone, even though like noun wise there was still love there. So yeah. One way to begin taking this action is to evaluate your self-care practices and your daily routines. So having these feelings of missing someone and wanting them back can cloud our judgment and lead to not caring for ourselves in the most productive and powerful ways. And right now, you need an extra dose of pampering. You deserve it. Self-worth, like that is really what's going to carry you through anything hard in your life.
And being really intentional about it as well. Something that I always use and refer to often is something I completely just came up with on my own. And that is in the first week of a breakup, maybe 2 weeks. Like, I mean, really when it is over and life sucks. I really think that it can be very therapeutic to have a week where you just say, I'm going to be indulgent. I'm going to spoil myself. I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to distract myself and just really do things to make things easy and to take your mind off the breakup and feel good. And even if it's some things that we might not always recommend that you normally do, maybe some junk food, for instance, that type of thing, and just say it's just going to be for this week. And I think if you're able to put a container on it, that it can be a very good way to reset your system before diving into, the proactive healing and the quote work. And it's certainly a good thing to do before starting to try and process the relationship breakdown or examine your patterns and roles. So if you are in pain over this, don't then say, well, I'm going to do my relationship inventory. I'm going to, look at my patterns. I'm going to look at the things I want to change. Give yourself this buffer, give yourself this week to love yourself up before diving into this.
Yeah. And like we've talked about breakup brain before, like you're not operating at full capacity right now. Like you can't be making decisions with a clear head. Studies have even said that your IQ drops like immediately after a breakup. Like when like bringing it back to the physical injury thing, like you wouldn't be like, oh, why did my leg break? Let me go and relive the accident over and over again. And like, watch it break over and over again.
Like, what part did I
take
play?
Some painkillers, go to the doctor, like get it fixed up, rest. And then you can start working on, okay, so I now know I need to strengthen this outer muscle on my leg or like blah, blah, blah. But
wonderful example. And in the week that you're taking the pain medicine, there will be enough healing that takes place for you to start doing the work. Without as much pain.
And don't operate heavy machinery while you're in pain and on painkillers.
So, and I mean, I am talking just Netflix or whatever. If that's your thing, that's your thing. Just
whatever it is,
sink into it. And also, maybe see what you can do to lessen your, commitments for that week.
Go back to the things that you really love. Like maybe it's like rereading Harry Potter for like the 12th time or something. Do something that's going to like take you back to yourself and really like distract your mind. So that's the first week. So Janice is
I swear by
it. Not really, but like really. So beside the first week, it is a good time to look at your routines, at your self-talk, take a peek at your diet, your sleep, your weekend activities, commitments, friendship, and other things that go into a great self-care practice. a lot of times in relationships, those fall away because you start doing like what your partner wants to do and stuff. So like coming back to what you actually enjoy. And it may sound trite, but right now it's largely about survival mode right now when it's at the very beginning. Or I would argue like when you have a major trigger, like you know, if you have to work with your partner at like grad school or at work or something like that, you know, these are more like one-off things, like you run into them at a party or something and you feel very triggered and kind of taken back to that first week almost. I think you can then make the argument for like, okay, we're just going to reset. It won't be as bad as the first time, but you know, reset.
Yep,
there,
having
so.
maybe some go-tos, you know, things that you know will make you feel better when times like that happen.
Yeah.
All right, so something else that is really important when struggling with feelings of still loving an ex is accepting that you have power over your thoughts and learning how to redirect them. I know this takes a lot of work, you know, daily, but when you decide to do it, you can.
Yes. Yeah, I love mindfulness. I mean, I know it's such a popular term right now, but I think one of the things, you know, let me start with an overview of what mindfulness is, and then I'll clarify how to better think about it. So mindfulness is to start tapping into the difference between your thoughts and your awareness. So you're actually the being that is observing your thoughts. So your brain, that just programming, it's just trying to keep you alive. So its job is to think of worst case scenario and throw spaghetti at the wall, like thought, like, I hope this keeps her alive. And you know, although like a breakup won't kill you, your brain doesn't know that, especially as we are kind of hardwired to really, really avoid rejection wherever possible. So your brain is going to be catastrophizing. It's going to be thinking you're never going to love again. You're like alone forever now. Like you're going to die alone. Like,
or you've got to be in touch with them. I need to see how they are. I miss them.
Yeah. All of these thoughts are just your brain trying to give you ideas on how to keep you alive. So thanks, brain. But those are not necessarily true. They are not true. And you can choose which thoughts you believe, because you're actually not the person thinking those thoughts. They're just like coming out of the ether or whatever, and you get to choose which ones actually apply to you. And so mindfulness is slowing down and getting clear about that difference. And I think where people get frustrated with mindfulness and hearing about it all the time is they're like, well, I've been trying, but I'm still having all those thoughts. It's like, well, no shit, it's not going to stop. It's that you get better and quicker at refocusing after having a painful thought and being like, no, actually, I don't choose that. I'm going to come back to my chosen truth. So that's my soapbox on mindfulness.
And Claire works with people on this in breakups. I mean, we both do it, you know, to a certain extent. And so if this sounds like it's overwhelming to you, or like perhaps, you know, she just doesn't get your situation, you know, be in touch with us. This takes practice. Sometimes it can take, you know, people who, you know, have training and experience in this. I know for me, I have changed some really destructive patterns with attention to mindfulness, and we can help you do it too.
Yeah.
So another thing that can help, which is similar to what we talked about as far as the relationship inventory and looking at what type of love it was, is looking at the reality of the relationship, the person, and the breakup. So besides taking the inventory of the relationship, this is one circumstance in which looking at the negatives of a situation can actually help. If you're overwhelmed with feelings of still being in love with your ex, then you may be idealizing them as a defense mechanism or holding on to the happy memories to protect yourself from the pain. Yeah. And once again, I guess if you're doing the X-Files drinking game, this would be where you might take a drink, because we're going to refer to the fading affect bias and the tendency our mind has to hold on to the positive memories over the negative ones.
Yes, completely. Yes. So making lists of what went wrong, all the things that you disliked about the relationship, and the things about your partner that may have let you down or that you disliked, is some of the most basic breakup advice. And yet it helps us to have the gratitude for the fact the relationship ended, even if we still love and care about the person. Like we said, people are complicated. Good comes with bad. And being able to see the whole picture for what it was and being like, damn, I really miss this person. We had some really good times, but I don't want to live with this one thing for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like that
completely.
can be really, really powerful.
Yes.
And just being like, both are true.
Yeah. I had a lot of drama in my relationship and tons of fights before my ex and I separated. And I actually did this before I, pulled the plug, because everything was just such a constant nightmare and we just weren't getting along. And he was very hard to get along with in the end. And I mean, yes, there's two sides, but for me, it was just, oh God.
Yeah.
I felt like I was getting ulcers. And, so I did make this list, and I was able to kind of step back and just say, you know what, this is shit. This has actually been going on for a while. There, he's not open to seeing any of this, and this is no way to live. And I actually don't think I want to do this anymore, as much as I valued the relationship. It just really gave me the perspective I needed.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, what is bad for one person cannot be good for the other. Like, if you're having a terrible time, like for you, Janice, like he wasn't like stoked probably on how things were either.
Oh no, which he made very clear.
Yeah. So like sometimes, one person will take the action of actually ending the relationship.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get. He did kind of just, I wasn't staying in the conflict.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, we're both unhappy. Let's do something about it.
Yes.
And even when you go into it with that perspective, it doesn't mean that getting over the breakup won't be hard.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. It made some things easier, but yeah, for sure.
A lot of people may be listening and thinking that this work doesn't apply to them because they loved everything about their partner and didn't have any complaints and were therefore caught off guard by the breakup, or that the relationship was perfect until the moment it ended.
Yep.
Well, I would suggest, like Janice has this as a requirement for this exercise with her clients, is that you have to list at least 10 things on each of these lists to get the ball rolling.
Yep.
No relationship is perfect, and no breakup happens because the relationship was perfect. And anyone can make these lists, no matter how good you thought it was. And these lists don't negate the fact that there were a lot of good things. It's just looking at it clearly, and, not burying your head in the sand and being like, no, it was perfect. I don't understand why they would end it,
Right. I mean, this is not the time to be making a list of all the things you love about your partner for Valentine's Day. All right. We're shifting gears here, people.
Yeah.
So yes, please do it. All right. Another tip is give yourself closure. Getting real closure around your relationship ending may help you to move on if you have strong feelings of love for an ex. If these feelings are holding you back from either healing or moving on, it can help to fully accept that things have ended and to write your own story about this ending. Remember, this closure is only something that you can give yourself, and your ex's side of the story or experience with the breakups is irrelevant when it comes to being able to close this chapter and move to another one.
Yeah. Yeah. Like obviously every story has two sides or more to it. But your healing really depends only on your side of the story, and giving yourself the closure. And I want to emphasize that again, giving yourself closure doesn't mean setting up a conversation with your ex.
I was hoping you were going to say that, because even though we do talk about this a lot, we still get asked about this final conversation and how to do it. And I just think it's salt on an open wound, and it's not going to be as powerful as giving it to yourself.
Yeah. And, you know, I've talked about this with clients before. With dumpster fire, I had months of having conversations about why it ended and why we couldn't be together, and being like, well, what about this? What about this? You know what? None of those conversations. And I, you know, like the poor guy, like, cause we were trying to stay friends, you know, whatever that meant. And like, he would just patiently tell me like the same things over and over, and it never fucking helped me, you know?
And like, if you are the one, you know, in quotes, who is feeling like, you know, you're still in love, and maybe possibly this other one, the other person has ended it, it's only going to hurt more and more and more to have, you know, to have these conversations and to be told why someone doesn't want to be with you.
Yeah.
So no. So we don't recommend that. Just want to say it again. A few ways you can begin to give yourself closure about a relationship when you are still feeling in love: performing a breakup ritual. I will link to that episode. Performing a cord cutting ritual, doing the journaling, writing your own story. Claire's going to go over some breakup journaling exercises that can help you with this.
Yeah. And for cord cutting, I actually have on Insight Timer, which is a free app.
Oh yeah.
I have a cord cutting meditation that I recorded. So
link in the show notes.
A guided meditation track for how to do a cord cutting meditation, go to Insight Timer and check it out.
You can just look up Claire on Insight and it will take you there.
Yeah. So journaling. We love journaling. A few prompts for the specific thing include: what I never got to tell you is, I deserve better because, why I am upset about this breakup is, I am ready to let go of fill in the blank. And that can help you focus in on those thoughts. And when you're writing, it's moving energy through you. Like, we have probably talked about our love affair with journaling like so many times. So if you've listened,
that would be another shot.
That would be, fading affect bias, take a shot. Journaling, take a shot. Mindfulness, take a shot. I mean, I know, I worry sometimes that we're triggering to people who are, sober or anything like that. So if,
not
if
my intention,
that is not our intention. And that could be a shot of celery juice or something like that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So our next tip is, don't wait around. Oh my God. Another thing, we were talking about cliched advice, best way to get over someone is get under someone. Another one is let someone go, and if it's meant to be, they'll come back to you. And I think that ties into waiting around, because what people never clarify with that statement is that means moving on with your life and practicing non-attachment to someone coming back or not. So if you're feeling like, oh, they'll change their mind, I'll just kind of live a half life and be here for them when they come back,
Mhm.
Pop culture has perpetuated this idea for hundreds of years, honestly. And this idea that love is something to fight for, and therefore if you love someone, you should wait for them to come around and not give up on them. And it's just like such a defeating mentality, and it it just holds you back from being happy and from living a full life. You don't get another chance to do this again.
Yeah,
Like, this
true.
is your
That's such a
one
good
life.
point.
Do you want
Mhm.
to spend it waiting for someone?
Mhm.
That's just it's not good. We don't want that for you. We want you to have a full life.
Agreed.
And if you make holding on to someone an action, it is not giving you a full life. So regardless of the reason for the breakup, the healthiest thing you can do after it happens is to focus on your own growth, your healing, what you can learn, how you can move forward independently. You will always come out on top if you approach things this way.
Whether in or out of relationships, never put your life on hold in order to win someone's love. As someone who has done this, no good can come of it.
Yeah.
Do not put your life on hold to prove your love, to fix a relationship, or to get someone back.
Yeah.
Love is not a chase. When you decide to win someone over, you put out a lot of clinging and desperate energy into a big portion of your life. And like Claire said, you only get one of them. This energy can really easily spill into all other aspects of your life. How we do something is how we do everything.
Yeah.
It isn't an optimal way to show up in the world. It's not an optimal way to show up for this person. Relationships are reciprocal, and you can't show up fully if you are so focused on just the other person and winning them over. As hard as it is to accept, remember that no one can be talked into a relationship or convinced to be in one. Nor should, you deserve better.
Yeah.
And if you did talk them into it, it wouldn't be a relationship that was healthy.
Yeah.
If your ex is the one who has ended things, try to remember that they had the right to do so. It's probably one of the hardest things to accept if you're listening to this because you're in pain right now.
Yeah.
But just try and just keep that in mind.
Just know, like, the short-term, like, intense pain of a breakup is better than the long-term pain of being with someone who doesn't fully want to be there. You deserve an enthusiastically there partner. Like,
agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like consent, right? It's like enthusiastic, verbal consent.
Right. Totally. Everyone, you deserve it. It's out there. At least give it to yourself. And if you want to give yourself, ecstatic love, it won't be by putting your life on hold for someone who isn't ready or prepared or wanting to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
All right. So the last tip of advice, or the last piece of advice that we're going to give, is also perhaps one of the most applicable and practical, and that is, do not reach out to see how your ex is, to see if they still care. Ask what their experience is. Ask how they are. Tell them you miss them. No. This is one of the, best examples of why going no contact can be helpful. If you have contact with your ex, especially if you have strong feelings for this person, having contact with them can lead to a vicious cycle of longing, emotional crashes, regret, longing, emotional crashes, and regret. It doesn't work. It doesn't help. It's going to keep you in this horrible cycle. You're going to maybe feel great if they answer. You're going to crash when nothing comes of it. Just stop.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where the compulsion to do this is going to be so strong in the moment. And you just have to keep the faith that the compulsion will leave eventually if you hold off long enough. And if you do find, because we've gotten questions about this, and it's inevitable that you're human and sometimes you will do things that you know are not good for you. If you have quote failed at no contact and you did reach out and start a conversation, that you get to restart every time. And yes, it slows you down a little bit, but all hope is not lost. All of your progress is not lost. You can restart, and sometimes you can make that like slip up, so to speak, be one of your like rocks that you then hold on to as you keep moving into the future. And you're like,
I don't want to feel like this.
I don't want to feel like that again. I did that and it wasn't great. And now it'll give you a lot of strength as you like recommit to no contact. So, you know, like the last thing you need is more shame and blame and beating yourself up. So if you do slip up, if that has happened, be gentle with yourself, recommit. It's never too late to just start over again.
Yeah. You're in charge of your actions in every day, in every moment. And, you know, allow it to be empowering. If you reached out, you had the power to do that, and you have the power not to do it again. And I really think that that could be one of the most important things that you do right now. And we can help you get there as coaches. You know where to find us. I really want to stress that our hearts definitely go out to people who are dealing with this, because we know how painful it can be. We also believe in you. We also want to help you. Our intention with this episode was to give some support to people who are going through this horrible experience. So we hope we did that. And if you want more support, join our Facebook community.
Join the Facebook group, send us your requests over the DMs. And I think both of us offer complimentary consults if you're interested in coaching, but aren't quite sure how it works, or aren't sure if we are who we are on the podcast, which I can assure you we definitely are.
Depending on the package, I have consults that are different, different lengths. But if you're interested in coaching, just so you know, it does really help when you DM us to drop your email, and we'll be in touch probably the same day to get you info.
Awesome.
All right. You're doing the right thing listening. So hang in there.
Yeah, hang in there, guys. You've got this, and keep tuning in. Well, we're going to be releasing more breakup stuff, and also for people who've been following us for a while and you're starting to get to that stage, dating again.
Oh,
because it's breakups, broken hearts, and moving on.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to X-Files, a podcast about breakups, broken hearts, and moving on.
If you like this episode, tag us on your Instagram story so we can connect with you.
And you can find me, Claire, on Instagram at Claire Lofthouse.
And me, Janice, on Instagram at Janice Formichella.
If you'd like to join our online community, find us on Facebook at Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On.
And here's a preview of our next episode.
It's good to help people, but it's never good when you sacrifice yourself or when you put them first.
Yeah.
It's just not. I really, really believe. And also, it's just the cliche that everyone loves to use is the oxygen mask. If you're constantly putting on someone else's oxygen mask before your own, you're not going to be there for yourself or others.
Yeah, or stop getting on planes that go fucking down. Like,
there you go. You know? That too.
Maybe be like, you know, this has happened like 3 times in a row where the plane starts going down and everyone's oxygen masks are popping down from the ceiling. Maybe don't get on that plane. Maybe take a train.